coolness is, I also know what the feeling of hot is. And I've been trained to understand the difference. I want to live as long as possible. I don't want stress to kill me. Okay? This is a real thing. If you're dealing with it, deal with it. It's very important. Okay, if we know who we are, if we absolutely have the habits of getting real, of setting our minds, of being proactive and being persistent, if we have figured out who we are spiritually, and we wake up every day in a grateful and thankful mode, communicating through prayer and meditation, if we have taken care of ourselves, we've eaten the very best possible fuel and medicine, we have exercised so we have stamina and energy, and we know how to keep stress at bay, then folks, we're ready to get to work. And understand, time is money. Time is productivity. How you invest your time will determine your productivity and your success. This is big. This isn't little. This is really big. Okay. Well, I explain it differently in the one thing. I talk about it, but I do explain it's playtime, pay time, and organization time. Those are the three areas of time you want to deal with. I recommend that you do playtime first, that you go to your calendar, you block it all out. I suggest that you use 30 days at a time, that you ditch whatever electronics you're using right now, and you go back to paper, and you get a month at a glance, and you look at it. I know, I can already hear it, you know, well, my life's going just fine. Really? Why don't you quadruple your goals and then see how it's working? Because if the way you're doing things right now is working fine, and you're not at the peak of what your potential is, you might look at your time management system as the culprit. See, we tend to look at other things as the culprit, but my experience in working with thousands of people is it's usually their perception of time and how they use it that is the overriding culprit of their lack of getting more out of their life. Yeah, I've gone to meddling again, haven't I? I'm just telling you that this is my personal experience and research backs it up. Get a 30-day calendar. Look at time in 30-day blocks. The reason why is because when you say yes to something, you'll immediately see what you have to say no to. And when you've said yes to something, you're very clear. I'm very clear about, because of my energy levels, I'm very clear about all this. I've said for a long time that I come from a long line of lethargic people. My family was not high energy at all, okay? And my mind is a lot more active than my body. I've had to really work hard to be a very active person. Shoot, I even wear compression socks. I mean, because of what Lipitor did to my body. I don't have any choice, you know. You can't do what I do for the 5 days here at family reunion with the leg issues, the muscle issues I have without wearing compression socks. I'd be in the hospital. Last year at family reunion, after the red bash, I couldn't sleep all night because my legs wouldn't stop shaking. I couldn't get them to stop. And I'm in as good a shape as almost anyone in this room, you know? But Lipitor screws me up so bad, and they can't cure it. There's nothing I can do with it. I'm afflicted with it the rest of my life. I have to manage that very tightly. So I'm very painfully aware of energy, and I don't have the time to cheat. I can't use more time. People say, let's go do something tonight. My inner self says, screw you. I'll die if I do that. I can't keep up with you. I don't have your energy. But here's what I can do. I can manage my time better than you and kick your ass. There's a gift there. No, there's a gift there. See, I tell my son who's ADD, I said, you've been given a wonderful gift. He has ADHD. You know, it's not horrible, but he has a focus issue. I said, you've been given a gift. He said, how's that? I said, well, I want you to think about it. Those people, most people, in my experience, have very average focus ability. And because that gets them average results, and that feels pretty good, they think that's perfect focus. They don't think focus is their issue because at least it's getting them this far. I said, you know focus is your problem because you can see it. So you're having to learn skills and do things in order to get better focus. Now, by the way, what the research says is that most people that have a focus deficiency, if they get help, they end up being better than most people. Because they get the skills, because they have no choice, right? They need training, they need help. How many training classes have you taken on focus? Well, my son's taken a lot. And when I told him, I said, "It's a great gift, dude." I said, because what's going to happen is you're going to pass most people later in life because you're going to get so good at focus, you're just going to be able to go there. Because you've trained your mind to go there when you have to. Given that you have the willpower to do it at that moment, you'll be able to do it because you understand what it is and you understand how to do it. But most people just go by average focus and they don't think that's their problem. I'm telling you, it's about 99%. It's the biggest problem. That's why I wrote the book, The One Thing, because people are challenged with focus. They try to do too much, and in the process, they do way too little. Way too little. Okay? So it's playtime first. Mark it out. Why? Because if you're going to work really well and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to need the time off, and you'll be able to afford it. And the most reason why people don't block off time is they don't think they're going to deserve it, and they're pretty certain they won't be able to afford it. What kind of attitude is that? That sucks. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, I just, remember this is my self-talk. Okay. Pay time. Well, we call that 4 hours a day focused on your one thing. That's called pay time. That's when you earn the money. That's when you it's really interesting. The Doobie Brothers got on stage the other night. Did you know they didn't rehearse or do a sound check? They checked the instruments and the sound, but the Doobie Brothers never came out on stage once. The first time they stood on stage together was when they came out. And I asked Pat Simmons, his wife, I said, did they do any rehearsals? She said, no. They did a little acoustic thing just to check off with each other, and then they came on stage and they played. Now, for the next 4 days, from noon until all hours of the night, they're sequestered about 15 minutes from here in a studio rehearsing for their next tour. And they've blocked out the time. And it's they start around noon, his manager said, and they'll go to who knows all hours. And they'll do this for 4 straight days. Blocked it out. Setting it all up. Okay. No matter where you look, Successfully Excludes, you'll see that people block time. So block time is an appointment with yourself to do the thing that matters most that's going to move your life forward. Do you know what that thing is? For you in real estate, 4 hours a day, it's lead generation. Have a nice day. It's 4 hours a day. Minimum of 4 hours, really. 3 to 4 hours minimum. It just is. And you can't avoid it, you can't escape it. And the research says you're going to have your best results before noon, before 1 o'clock, before that noon time. Why? Because normally you get up before 8 o'clock. Now, if you got up at noon, then your focused or block time might be like theirs. It might be, later in the day. Because what happens is you have the most energy and the most willpower when you wake up. And the second you start using it, it goes away. And that's a documented fact. Unless you take a 29 minutes, I think is the optimal number of minutes, take a nap. And you shut your eyes and take a nap. And you can actually replenish the energy and you can replenish all of that. That's something. You could do that. Okay? The last one is organization time. What's that habit? Every week for 1 hour, you sit down, you open up your calendar, you get out your goal sheet, your 411, and you look at it. You look at it. And you say, I'm on track. What do I need to do? Where am I going? What has to happen? What's the one thing I need to do? And you look at your time blocks. And you make sure they're protected and everything's done the way you want and you're off and running. Okay? And that's the time discipline. It's no more complicated than that. The big one there, of course, is the 4 hours for lead generation. That's the big one for you. If you're in the real estate business, that's it. There's nothing else. It's not debatable. It won't ever change in your lifetime. You won't ever go to a seminar where it's something else. Guess what? The industry's changed. Your 4 hours now should be this. It's not changing. It's not changing. You have to make peace with that. Right? Money disciplines are real simple. In this area, there's 3. The gross income habit. I tell the kids the biggest mistake that you're making. How are we doing time? Okay, we got a few more minutes. What I tell the kids is the biggest mistake you make is you think that financial wealth comes from your job. I said there are very few people on the planet, usually athletes and movie stars and some musicians, actually make their wealth from their job. The job does it. I said the reason why most kids, when they go to college, dream of being maybe a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant is why? Because they really love those things? Not necessarily. Many times they choose it. Why? Those are the highest paying jobs, and they think, yeah, money. They think those are the highest paying jobs, and so they think that that's what financial wealth is. That's dysfunctional. Oops. Your job should be about your passion. It should be what you enjoy doing, and then you should make the most amount of money possible doing that. Then what do? Invest it. Invest it. It was really fun. You know, Jay joined me as really just an editor on the first book. And then the second book, he took over the research for the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. What I really respect and admire about Jay is he got into the research. He understood it. And he just announced to me the other day that he and Wendy are millionaires. They have jobs. This isn't their job income. This isn't their home equity. This is their investment income. That's pretty awesome in less than 10 years to do that from your job income. Okay? Normal job income, by the way. You can do it if you follow the rules. And you realize that you're never going to get wealthy from your job unless it's an extraordinarily paying one. Okay? Right. So what are the habits? Well, the first one is gross up your income. Go to where your passion is and make money. Make money. Make as much as you can from the job that you have. Then what do? Don't spend it all. Don't spend it all. And one of the blessings that you have, which is really cool, is you happen to be in an industry where your job can become a business. That's what's awesome. That's what I love about this industry. It's just one step over to being a business. Okay? So you can actually turn this into a business that you own that sends you money. But the other side of that is, no matter what you're doing, only live off it no more than 70%. Okay? No more than 70%. I would estimate right now I live off of probably 5 to 10% of my income. And that's been pretty normal for many years. I don't live off of 70 or 80 or 90 or 100%. What do I do with the other? Thank you. So what do you think happens over time? Thank you, it grows. Yeah. Oh yeah. Keller Williams could go bankrupt. It could have gone bankrupt a long time ago. From a financial standpoint, it wouldn't affect it. Why? Because the second that we made money in our lives, you know, my wife and I, even when we just first got started, you know, we made extra payments every month. We paid our home off in 7 years, and we've never had debt since. You know, we applied extra money to that rather than other stuff. I drove a Ford Taurus for years. In fact, when we were expanding the company, I still drove a Ford Taurus. Nothing wrong with Ford Taurus, by the way. It's a great car. Thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, very cool car into it. You know, and it was Mo Anderson who said, "Look, when you pick people up from the airport from Oklahoma to talk about Keller Williams, could you drive your wife's car?" She had we had bought her an old Jaguar, a used Jaguar. And she said, "It's just not working for you to tell people, if you work really hard to follow my models, you too could drive a Ford Taurus." I never thought about it. I thought it said I was thrifty and used my money well, and, you know, so I went out and bought I understood that, so I used Mary's car until I finally gave it and bought a used Lexus. But, yeah, you know, take the 30%, now go learn to invest money. And when you invest money, invest in things of value, make your money going in, and hold it accountable. And that's it. In other words, have a rate of return that you're looking for. Look, you got to understand the rules of money. The rules of money say that the stock market in any 7-year period is averaged anywhere from 9 to 10%. So the game is, can you beat 9 to 10%? If you can't, then you just go into mutual funds and have a nice day, to be honest with you. If you don't understand how to pick stocks, then just go into mutual funds, have a nice day, and get after it. Investing game is, can you beat that? You happen to be in one of the best investment vehicles ever invented, real estate. Real estate is an awesome, it's totally awesome. One of the best investments you can ever make. Okay? But have you mastered that? See, I know that as a group, as the Keller Williams people have not mastered it. The reason I know that is because we almost sell no books to the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. When we wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, we wrote it to you. These would be your Bible on understanding how to invest in real estate. Number two, we wrote it because once you understood how to invest, when you sat down with people, you'd say, "Look, now that we sold your home, I want you to read this blue book, and then I'll come back and visit with you in a couple of months. I'd like to come back and talk to you about your real estate portfolio. I'd like to help you invest in real estate over time. Don't buy one, buy two. And we know that you really don't get it because no one buys the book. Which tells me you're not giving it to your clients. Which tells me you're not having the investment conversation. The reason we wrote that book is because if your clients go to the bookstore or go on Amazon to buy an investment book, that's not good. Why? You ever read those books? By and large, those are not real. Those are individuals' personal experience books. And very few of them tell the truth about investing in real estate. And very rarely do they ever lead the buyer back to you. They're not a pathway back to the realtor. That's the problem if you go into the bookstore and say, well, let me give you a couple of investment books and we'll talk. We wrote a book written and researched and written by realtors around what really happens in our industry about investing. And the book leads them back to the professionals in the industry. Not in any sort of a sales pitch. It just naturally leads them back because we are the professionals they should use. Okay? That's why the book's written. Well, okay. The last one, and that is growth disciplines. In this area, it's real simple. When we talk about unique ability, I want you to think of something. I want you to think of this circle right here as your unique ability. This, my hand, okay? And if this is a circle, and you start going out here, how effective are you? If this is what you do best,